All right, welcome to the new episode of Scene Down Cricket Talkies. We're back at it again. We just going through a few topics that we'll go through this time. Recap of the South Africa versus India second ODI. What went wrong, what went right. Then nothing much happened except the IPL auction or the draft picks that happened in between, and then the third ODI which is being played right now. And as of time of this recording, we're almost halfway through the third ODI. Yeah. South Africa is 287 for 9 in the 50th over. Anyway, beginning from where we want to start. Yeah. I mentioned in the last episode that I was expecting South Africa to come good in the sense that India might have a slump, and it looked like it. When I say slump, my reasons for that is there's a change in captaincy, a new captain is coming in, new players need to find their groove, who's suddenly been put into the game with a lot more added responsibility. How do you handle those situations? And when somebody loses their wicket, how do the next ones come in? What do they do? Do they take up the responsibility right away? Do they stutter? Well, we did see some stutters. South Africa played a brilliant innings. They played brilliantly. As we saw, India with Rishabh Pant's 85, which was magnificent. He looked really the part that he needs to be as a potential captain. That a lot of people are touting him to be. A nice 55 from KL as well, but he lost his wicket against the run of play. Things were looking good. You know, there's always the thing about people losing their wicket right at the beginning of a new session. I think there was a drinks break. You need to switch on, and I think Rahul got out on the first or the second ball right after the drinks. Unfortunate, but that's the name of the game. You need to be switched on the whole time. Now, switching on to the South African innings, Malan looked really good. I always struggle with saying his first name, which is Janeman, which means darling, roughly translated in the Indian Hindi language. However, he looked good. Quinton de Kock looked coming off from the same perspective how he began when he started playing for South Africa. He played a bunch of really strong, powerful innings against India. So he looked in good touch, 78 out of 66 balls, really, really in control. And what was heartening for South Africa was Malan playing a really crucial innings, 91. He went a little over, a little less than run a ball, but I think what South Africa really needed was somebody playing their part, playing a sheet anchor's role, which was done exceptionally well by him. Then, of course, Temba Bavuma, he's holding the ship together. Let's put it that way. He guides the team through. He's not a very old guy, but relatively experience-wise, he's quite a character. He's been there for some time, so he's acting out to be a good force. Aiden Markram came in with not too much pressure on him, really got on with the game, and of course Rassie van der Dussen, he's looked really good for quite a while now throughout the Test series, and I think a few series that he's played before he stood out. So that was a good performance by both the guys, Aiden Markram and Rassie van der Dussen. Towards the end, they saw South Africa through quite easily towards the end. I think the Indian bowlers, they struggled a bit, or South Africans, they made them look quite ordinary. Bhuvneshwar Kumar did not bowl too well. I think perhaps it's the fact that he's been on a break from international duty that must have played a part. He went for 67 runs in 8 overs. Ravi Ashwin, surprisingly for a team like South Africa, they handled spin quite well, and India seemed to be struggling against spin. Of course, some of the wickets were unexpected. How Kohli got out, and Keshav Maharaj, Shamsi, they've looked really good. Of course, Shamsi did get smashed for a few sixes by by Pant, and Pant had to keep the tempo up based on how he was playing. So I don't think Shamsi had a part to play in it, though he really wanted to yell and let Pant know how and who was the boss there. But I think when you've gone for 35 runs in 2 or 3 overs, I think you lose a little bit of sting in your screamings. But he's a passionate character, so that goes with it. You need a character like that in cricket, as I've already mentioned when speaking about Shamsi. UC Chahal, he looked better than the first game, went for 47 runs in 10 overs, 1 wicket. Could have been better. Iyer impressed a little bit with his bowling. Nothing to write home about. No real wickets. But then again, he's just come into the team. A lot of pressure. How do you find your groove? Do you start performing right at the onset? Don't think that's as easy as it sounds. Perhaps let me rephrase that. It is difficult, and it is even more difficult to perform right away. The position that he's playing is a quite high pressure situation. Hardik Pandya handled it quite well for some time. That he made it look easy. So you start expecting stuff like that from everyone who comes in. Or I think there's something that needs to be looked into. I hope he finds his groove. But we will see how that goes about. Anyway, like I was saying, this could be beginning of a slump, and a slump which is not intended. Not that the batsmen are too not up to the mark. I think it's all a pressure situation. It's just the whole glacial shift of a captain quitting his position, wanting to concentrate wholly as a batsman, and sometimes a team needs a little bit of time to find their groove. I think that's what it is. If India does lose 3-0, does it reflect too bad on them as a batting unit or as a bowling unit or as a team on the whole? I don't think so. However, there are a few series that are coming soon. I think India will be playing West Indies at home. So, should be called a slump or a rebuilding phase. I think it's a mix of both. It's just getting back on the horse and riding to your destination. I think that's what it is. I'm excited about the future. New captain, new players coming in. Opportunities will be handed out, of course, to deserving people. And it'll be cool to see who raises their hand. Of course, a lot of people will. And then who makes their presence felt. Because it's a lot about luck as well. Sometimes those shots, they find the boundary. And the times that you need to miss the ball, you will miss the ball. But there are other occasions where no matter how hard or how desperate you are, desperate being the operating word, you're going to edge it. You're going to scoop it up in the air, top edge it. Just some random thing will happen. You might get run out. So it's one of those things. Let's see how that happens. I think South Africa set a target for around 290 or 90 odd in 50 overs. I don't see India's chances of chasing that, based solely on the fact that this team is finding it's a new look team. Things have changed. Rohit is not there, so you could say people have to just it's a Lego situation. What fits in what groove, and I think that's the only reason which is holding India back from winning this series 3-0. And of course ending up with a result the opposite 0-3. So I think you have to take your licks. Some certain occasions you need to take the L, unfortunate as it is, but that's how the cookie crumbles. What can we talk about more? I would like to be proved wrong if India wins, but I don't see it happening. Moving on to some other interesting things, which are the IPL. I think some draft picks were provided for. Some people made themselves available. Some teams let some players go and wanted to pick them up in the auction if possible. Hardik Pandya being one. I think he's been scooped up by Ahmedabad, and they've taken 2 more players, Rashid Khan and Shubman Gill. I would like to assume. Interestingly, they let Shubman Gill go, considering they invested in him. But the fact that you only have a certain options or only few players that you can retain. That must have been a hard discussion from there, and so we will see how that looks like. And Rashid Khan wanting to not stay with Hyderabad. It was a patchy session for Hyderabad last season. They did not treat, or didn't look like they treated Warner too well. Things happened that nobody knows, but it didn't look like a settled unit, so he definitely wanted out from there. I wonder which team he's in. I think he is in the pool to be picked up by a new team. However, Rashid Khan, I wonder what happened with him, because he's always been treated as a top-notch player, and I do not think he missed even a single game there. But inner turmoil can lead to various things, and perhaps he expected to get a bigger chunk of or a bigger bite of the pie by opting out of his then current team, which was Sunrisers Hyderabad. Then I think these are the big ones that everybody noticed. I think there's one more team which has yes, I think KL Rahul, he's joined another team for this IPL. So good for him. He continues in his role as a captain. I think that's what he is looking to do. I think there were issues with Kings 11 Punjab, or Punjab Kings as they've reverted, to a new name. I feel the same way about KKR as well, who've been very impatient with their results or the process, so to speak. They put a lot of money in there, but just because you wish to have instant result doesn't mean chopping and changing will help. Like DK or Dinesh Karthik was a captain, then he was suddenly not the captain. The same thing happened with Ganguly as well. When he was at the helm, he was unexpectedly dropped. So quite a things seem not as calm or as one would assume in an IPL team. I think there's a lot of pressure because there's a lot of money involved. But I think panicking by the management or the owners in general doesn't fetch you instant results. Look at teams like Chennai, who stuck with Dhoni. Of course, Dhoni is a special breed, so you can't really compare that with other players and other teams. But that's a team which has even won with aging players. So they've shown faith in players. For example, Ruturaj Gaikwad. I think they invested in that one edition of the IPL when Chennai had a really bad season. They didn't panic. They let him bat, and he shone really well. He showed up, and thereafter the next IPL, I think the last IPL, I think he performed really well. They ended up winning the title. So it's just one of those things. A few players opting out of the IPL, Joe Root and Ben Stokes, to focus on Test cricket. I don't think that is the right move. Not that it hurts the brand of IPL, but I think it's just so much pressure on the English players because they've lost the series, the Ashes against Australia in Australia, and they've lost badly against India as well. I think they didn't do too well against New Zealand. But having said that, just because you play the IPL is not the reason that you're performing bad as a team. I think England need to look beyond Joe Root and Ben Stokes when they need to put the blame. These two players have done well. They should be afforded the opportunity to earn as much revenue or as much money as they wish to. Just forcing them or putting the pressure or passing negative judgments against players of such high caliber, I don't think you would want to be doing that. Perhaps England needs to look within. Where are the problems? Because a lot of the players that were in the test team are not part of the IPL. So I don't think just because Joe Root and Ben Stokes go and play in the IPL or were to go and play in the IPL, it would have hurt their chances. Yes, rest is an important factor. But then having the desire to play in the IPL against good and better players in a short span of time, that could actually add value to your game, learning to know the habits and all those things. So I think both parties lose. IPL loses in this process, and so do Ben Stokes and Joe Root. So I hope they don't force them to do this. I feel there's an undercurrent of negativity towards English players wanting to come and play in the IPL, and the blame being laid on the players that are part of the IPL. I think it's unfortunate. And I think realization is made to that end. So it was an interesting week. Not too much cricket being played. I mean, it's not the World Cup, but yeah. But there were some extracurricular stories with IPL and English players. So that kept the whole week or the last few days interesting. I think that should do it for the moment. My kid is crying, so I think it's time for Papa duties. I'll be back again for the next one, going over how India go about their job of chasing the South African target of 290 odd. I hope you enjoyed this one. Keeps me motivated to keep producing more videos going over cricket. Cricket being my fashion and my passion. I don't know if that made sense, but anyhow. See you next time and have a good one.